Hey there, I just got back from vacation, and this is my haul. A whole lot of rocks. While most people go get snazzy clothing, I clearly have the snazziest clothing known to humankind. What I have is far older than humankind. I have fossils of an ocean marine bed, brachiopods, I have seashells, I have worm casings, I have a whole lot. But first, I need to tell you a little story. I found these vaguely near wind caves in Logan Canyon. On the way up, I found a single fossil that was kind of cool, but not a whole lot. Anything on the trail was picked clean. But then, I came across a group of people at the top at the really cool wind cave area, and I showed them the fossil because I was asking if they had seen any, and they're like, oh, Junior, who was like their nephew or something that wasn't there, Junior would love this. And I was, to be honest, a little disappointed with my fossil haul at that point. So I told them I gave them the fossil. I was a little disappointed having only one fossil, and the idea that a random kid would be excited to see this fossil, this random rock I found. I just gave them that fossil, and that was that. Now, I ended up taking a path back, the path that those people had walked from, and I got lost. And I found myself on a trail very close to the main trail, but it was not the main trail. And I had to wander across like a little knife edge cliff, and eventually came across a big pile of rocks. I had looked at many rocks just anticipating finding one bearing fossils. All I wanted was some fossilized seashells. And then on my wandering way back, I hit the mother lode. I just saw these random rocks, and I looked a little closer. Everything is interesting if you look a little closer. As you can see, I started flipping over rocks, and I found ones with shells in them, and more stuff, and more stuff. And I filled my backpack to the brim with them. I got so many rocks that I didn't have room for my stuff in the backpack when I flew home. So I went to a thrift store and bought that lovely duffel bag for $5 redos and checked that big bag of rocks. And I brought it back here, and fortunately none of them got lost, none of them got damaged, and now I have these immaculate rocks right here. How did these rocks get here? This rock right here is a beautiful cross section, and you can see many layers of sediment. How did these shells and other aquatic organisms end up in the mountains? I'm going to tell you. Some reports I found saying this fossil formation was 350 million years ago. But well before human history, millions upon millions of years ago, there was an ocean. The Great Salt Lake is what is left of that ocean. That ocean spanned far into the state of Utah. That beautiful ocean was home to many life forms for a very long time. There's formations where you can find trilobites, such as this one, which I bought for $12 at a rock show. But there's places in Utah where you can find these, and I was really hoping to find one, but I am happy with my seashells. Trilobites are a lovely little three-lobed, hence trilobe, organism that lived in this ancient sea. Now, over time, the rock rose up high up into the mountains. This is a good point to mention that where I found these rocks was several thousand feet above sea level. So the story of these seashells found in there is they were clams just chilling, doing their thing in this ancient inland sea. And then they died. The end of their living story. But their dead story and their history lives on to this moment. As those clams died, more and more carcasses of their brethren and sediment layered on top of them. And it was quickly buried. And then something beautiful happened. Plate tectonics. Where this inland sea was, there's a fault line, a convergent fault line. And what that means is you have two tectonic plates that are shoving together. And in the case that creates mountain ranges, they shove into each other and they rise up and they rise up, eventually soaring up to the ridiculously high altitude that I found these at. I believe seashells have been found on Mount Everest, but I've not climbed Mount Everest, but I did find these myself. These brachiopods and horned coral, They have had a long life. Their story continues today. The science class that I teach, we do have a unit on plate tectonics, and I intend to show this video. So that right there is a piece of horned coral. Over here, you can see there's corals, there's seashells. Comment down below what you think is what. You can see this highlights a lot of different organisms. The circles, the little circles you see there, are the remains of an ancestor of a starfish. Right here is a beautiful example of the sediment layers. Now, I don't know which one is on top, but it's pretty easy to imagine all of the carcasses piling on top, and then sediment going on top when it's rapidly buried. Over here, we have some horned coral. And we have some brachiopod shells. This rock is teeming with fossils. I honestly don't even know what all of those are. You can see there's a little seashell here. Could be coral. Actually, that might be coral. I don't even know. That's the beautiful part about fossil hunting. Here's what I think looks like a seashell, but it also could be the shell of a brachiopod, which is like an ancient squid thing. It's absolutely gorgeous. Honestly, I was manically laughing with joy when I found these beautiful rocks. Like, that segment of horned coral is just immaculate. This sediment is incredible. These big rocks just are teeming with ancient life. The Earth is so much older than we can comprehend, and just seeing this glimpse into the past. The Earth is just so much older than we can comprehend, and seeing this glimpse into the past, it's a beautiful experience. I'll leave it at that. Remember, I found these fossils near a place called Wind Caves. This is in Logan Canyon in Utah. Now, Wind Caves are absolutely incredible. I've never been anywhere like it. And it's bizarre how it's formed, because you'd think from the name that it was formed by wind. But it wasn't formed by wind. Wind Cave is exposed, there's all these big open rooms, and you can look straight up at the sky. So it's not that big of a step between that and it being named Wind Caves to think it was formed by wind. But it was actually formed underground. And then thanks to our friend plate tectonics, it was elevated up to the surface and erosion cleared off the top. So think of it as like a bubble underground, and then it rose off, and then the top was shaved. Then what we got left with is the beautiful Wind Caves. But how was the Wind Caves formed? That is a story that I'm going to tell you with a little science demonstration. I have in this jug cleaning vinegar. Did you know that you can make acid? Well, you have acid in your digestive system, but if you blow bubbles in water, you can create something called carbonic acid. Carbonic acid is formed nearly instantaneously when carbon dioxide, CO2, combines with water, H2O. And what happens is acids can combine with other things and dissolve them. Vinegar is also a mild acid. So I'm going to show you what happens when you put acid on lodgepole limestone, which is what all of this is made out of. Honestly, I'm not entirely sure how limestone is formed or a whole lot about it, other than this really cool thing which I'm going to show you. So if you know a lot about limestone, tell me down in the comments. I'm eager to learn. This is a rock I got. And this rock is particularly cool because it doesn't have any fossils in it, which means I can destroy it. So I'm going to pour some vinegar on the rock. Do you see those bubbles? That vinegar is dissolving the rock. This isn't that different than vinegar and baking soda to make a volcano. So the way wind caves was formed is acid rain over millions of years seeped into the limestone and dissolved it. And then the water seeped away, carrying the minerals with it. And then plate tectonics raised it up, and then erosion chopped off the top. And that's how we got that beautiful formation. Also, if you find a rock and you're not too sure if it's limestone or not, this is a great way to check. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you learned something. Comment down below what video I should do next.